Hi, this is Diane from Teach Pre-K, and today I'm just going to show you a few ways that I differentiate math centers for different developmental abilities. And if you have a mixed class, this will be perfect for you. I teach 3-year-olds in the morning and then 4-year-olds in the afternoon. So I don't want to double plan. So I like to use the same activity, but just have a different way to do it. And then sometimes I might have groups of my 4-year-olds that really need some extra help and some that are pretty advanced. So I'd like to have a range of ways I can do things. Same with my 3-year-olds. I hope this is really helpful. I'm going to just show you some examples of how I differentiate a couple of different activities so that you will get an idea of how all you have to do is think. For the earliest learners, things have to be really concrete. Then you move into pictorial and then abstract for the kids that are ready for more of a challenge. So if an activity just isn't working, even midstream, you can go, how can I make this a little bit more concrete? So I'm going to give you some really great ideas. If you have any other ideas, please share them with me. Hope this is helpful, especially to my friend Tosh in South Africa, who wrote me the nicest email and was just really struggling what to do with a mixed class. I told her I'd have this ready this weekend. So hopefully she gets some great ideas as well. But enjoy it, and I'll see you at the end. Okay, I'm going to take you through some ways you can differentiate just a simple activity of identifying a number and counting, creating one-to-one correspondence, and even adding in some supertizing. So here I've got the number 5. This 5 is really big and bold. I just picked a simple font, made it, like I think a 500 point. Put it on one side, and then I just used my shapes in my PowerPoint and made 5 circles. And see, they're not perfectly aligned, but there they are. So for your younger kids, like your 3-year-olds or those who are struggling, you can say, this is what the number 5 looks like. Let's trace it with our finger. And just have them trace it with their finger. And I might start with these cute little bears. And I might just have the bears on these little dots. And one thing I could do was say, count the bears. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Or I could just have a little pile of bears and say, put a bear on each dot and let's count together. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So that's super concrete. They are using their finger to make the 5. They are looking at the 5. They are either touching and counting or counting and placing. Now, just to make it a little more abstract, but not too hard, I could do, this is what the number 5 looks like. Let's trace it with our finger. And then count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 dots. So we're going from concrete, which was the bears, to this pictorial, which is just a teeny bit more abstract. So that's a way of leveling an activity up or down. I'm going to keep going with this and show you another thing you can do. Now I've got this dry erase sheet with this 5 where you can trace. Now, for my littler kids, I might put the bears on here. So that's super concrete. And I might give them a dry erase marker and say, hey, go to town, let's trace the 5. And some of them literally will go like that, right? I don't care. They're using a marker. They're using their fine motor skills. They're getting the hang of it. Some of them might actually follow the lines a little bit. That's how you make a 5. And we could still use our finger just like we did with the other one. But now I'll say, let's count these bears. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Or take a bear off of the dots as we count. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Now for my pre-K kids, I might say, come on over here. Let's trace this 5. Start at the top, go over, down, and around, right? Then I might have bears, buttons, or whatever, and I'll say, you know, count and put the bears on the dots. They'll put the bears on the dots, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Or I might just say, a little more abstract again, count the dots. There you go. Now, I printed these out on my computer, but you don't have to. Look at this. I just took a Sharpie and I made a 5, and you could give the kids just a regular marker. I'm going to go ahead and just use my dry erase because I've got it handy, and have them trace. And then you can have them put the bears on these dots, or you could get a little dab-a-dot and add one more little element and do 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I should have juiced this up a little bit before, so let's see if we can get it a little bit more juicy. 2, 3, 4, 5. So that is something that I just did with a Sharpie. You could take it up to your school printer or copy machine and make enough copies, and then they could take it home. You could add the word 5. You could add anything you want. But there again, this is a little more concrete because you're doing an action by making the dots yourself, right? You could roll Play-Doh and make the 5. Whatever you want to add to make this super duper concrete, you can do that. I'm going to show you another level that I would probably do with pre-K again. I would say trace the 5, or put it with your finger, or make it with Play-Doh, whatever you want to do. Then count the buttons. There it's a little bit more abstract and pictorial. Or I could do this and say trace the 5, would put it in the sleeve, then trace the 5. Now count out 5 bears, 5 buttons, whatever. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And then we would check, and we've got it. And this is super abstract because there's nothing telling them where to put the bears. They've got to figure out how many 5 bears is themselves. So those are ways you can level things up or take them down for your class that might be different ages or some really different abilities that you might have. So think forward, think backward, think concrete to abstract. Or you know what, you could just give them a piece of paper, show them a flashcard of a 5, ask them to copy and write their own 5 and count out the 5 bears, 5 buttons, or whatever you have too, just to take it up one more level. Maybe that's something you'd want to do with your 4-year-olds towards the end of the year. This is another activity I'll do with my kids quite often. And this is like frogs on a lily pad. You could have like a blue circle or a blue piece of paper, and it could be ducks in a pond. You can do anything you want for any theme that you've got. Like it could be just a white piece of paper, and you could get some little snowman erasers, you know, snowmen in the snow. But I'm going to do frogs on the lily pad. So for my pre-K, I might have like a little container of frogs and say, okay, look at the number and put that many frogs on the lily pad. For some of them, I'd say, hey, I'm right here. If you need to know what the number is, if you're not quite certain, let me know. A lot of my kids will just go to town and they will put frogs on the lily pad, and we'll go, okay, let's check. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And I usually have them count, and it's great. We can see that it's 5. Now, if I had my 3-year-old class, I'm going to start with my 5 frogs on the lily pad, and I might say, okay, this is what the number 5 looks like. Let's see if there are 5 frogs on this lily pad. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Or I might say, let's get our little grabbers, and I don't think this is going to work. These grabbers are so tiny. Let's take the frogs off. Let me grab some different. I'm going to grab these tongs. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So I'm adding in a little fine motor, or I might just say, let's let these frogs jump in the water. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. But I can add a fine motor element. I'm still counting. I'm still doing numeral recognition, but this is a little more concrete. I'm not asking them to figure out what 5 is. I've got 5 ready to go. Here is another way to make it even more concrete. I have got 5 lily pads, and a level 1 would be, this is what the number 5 looks like. Let's count the frogs and the lily pads. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 5 frogs sitting on 5 lily pads. Awesome. Or level 2, let's see, this is what the number 5 looks like. Let's see, we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 lily pads. Let's put a frog on each lily pad and count. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Or again, like I did before, I can start with them on the lily pad. We can count, and then we can count again by making them splash into the quote unquote water. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So there I go. I've got that. I might even have a little pan of water, and they could jump them into the water just to make it even more fun and more engaging and really get them counting. So like I said before, and I'll repeat, concrete to abstract, concrete to abstract. And if they're not getting the way you think is concrete, think to yourself, how can I make this more concrete? I can do this same activity with my 4-year-olds and my 3-year-olds, just a different way. And again, I could draw this on a piece of paper by myself and just make copies. Super easy, no problem. You don't need to have this fancy clip art and the printing and whatever. But if you want to know how to do this, shoot me a message and I will do a little video on how to make things like this. Super easy. Okay, this is one of my favorite and just most low prep ways to teach numeral formation or letter formation. All I do is I'll get a whole or a half sheet of construction paper and I'll write the letter or number that I want on it. And I'll give the kids something to poke it with. Now you cannot do this on a table. You have to do it on some kind of carpeting or a rug, because you're gonna want to have the kids follow the line. And this is just like this little pokey stick. I don't even know why I have this. And they can just press on the line and start making the number 5. Now this is a semi-sharp pencil. I always talk to the kids about, do we touch our friends with these? Would this hurt if we got poked with this? The fun thing that we do is we'll get our light table and we will have our light table ready. So after they've made these holes, can you see those holes in there? See the light shine through? We'll put it on the light table and they can see, wow, look at this amazing number 5 or letter S or whatever we're doing that day. Another fun thing you can do is get flashlights. If you don't have a light table, or as you see, I'm just following the lines, poking holes. Of course, you're gonna have kids that are gonna poke holes all over, and that's fine. They are using their fine motor skills, holding this pencil and poking this pencil into paper. So even if they don't hit the line at all, they are still doing work that is important for their development. So don't freak out and think, oh no, get on the line, get on the line. Who cares? They're looking at this number 5. You're saying number 5 over and over. They're using their fine motor skills. Hopefully they're not stabbing their friends. But here at the end, you can kind of see the light through this, but you can do this with flashlights. They love using flashlights. What kid doesn't love a flashlight? You can turn the lights off and have them shine flashlights through theirs or through their friends. The light table is awesome. They love the light table. Or if you don't have any of those things, hold it up to the lights in your classroom. This is such a great activity. You don't want to do it every week. You maybe want to do like numbers one week, wait a couple of weeks and do letters. But But I love this because it really gets them going on how this number is formed and what it looks like. And then you can also like do a counting activity with this. This could be your number of the day at circle time, whatever you think. But this is a super easy, very concrete, much easier than trace the number, much more fun than trace the number, but they're essentially doing the same thing. And both your 3 and 4-year-olds can really, really get engaged on this activity. They all love to do it. This is another activity that I do in the winter with my 4-year-olds and my 3-year-olds. And this year, I found a way to make it more meaningful, more fun, and more engaging for my 3-year-olds. And that's kind of what spurred me wanting to do this video. So how I do it with my pre-K class is I have these little cups with the number in the snowflake taped to the cup. Now, this is this fun clip art and whatever. You could write the number on the cup. You could write it on a piece of paper and tape it onto the cup. You could use a paper cup that you have in your classroom. You don't have to go crazy, and you don't have to make things oh so cute and whatever. Don't let anything hold you back. Find a way to do these fun activities. So the idea is, oh, we've got our hot cocoa. It's winter. These cotton balls are our marshmallows. I get some kind of tongs. I have these cute little mitten tongs I use, but these are my Gator Grabbers. And we are going to pick up the marshmallow cotton ball, and we are going to do, since this says 3 into this cup. 1, 2, 3. Now we would count, we could pretend we're sipping our hot cocoa, whatever, and they love this activity. And I do this with my 3s, and some of them get it, but some of them don't. And I've done this for years, so I'm like, what can I do to make this better for the 3s? Well, I went back to that thinking, how can I make this more concrete? So here I have a mug with the number 4 on the snowflake, and inside I already put the 4 cotton ball marshmallows. So I'm going to give them some kind of tongs, and if they're not ready for that, if their fine motor skills aren't there, they can use their pinchy fingers. It's just kind of the right size where they can reach in and grab. But they are going to reach in, and they are going to take them out of the cup. 1, 2, 3, 4. So there I go. We've got the 4 marshmallows out there. We've got, this is what number 4 looks like. Now our cup is empty, and if they want, they can recount them back into the mug. So they are doing something that's more concrete. The 4 marshmallows are already there. So they are saying, this is what 4 looks like. This is what 4 is. Let's count to 4. One thing that you could do to make this a little harder and a little bit more fun, say, oh, I'm playing a trick on you, and put maybe 5 or 6. And they can count out 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Uh-oh, there were too many. Or you could do like 3 cotton balls in here. What do we need to do to make 4? You know, just play with it. Have fun. Think of different ways that you can do one activity. So all I did was take this activity and do it backward to make something more concrete for my little guys. Same activity. So if I had a mixed class, I would just maybe do a group of pre-K kids, or have one of the pre-K kids put the marshmallows in here. Next child to do the activity would be a preschool age kid, where it's more concrete. This is what 3 looks like. There's 3 in here. Let's make sure. So there you go. Just another way, going from concrete to a little bit more abstract, or abstract to a little bit more concrete, to reach all those developmental ages. I hope that gives you some ideas of how you can just make some quick math centers, and how you can differentiate some math centers that you might already be using a lot. I just want you to keep thinking, for the earliest learners and those who are just not quite ready to take some developmental leaps, concrete, pictorial, abstract, and this goes for shapes as well as numbers. Concrete, pictorial, abstract, over and over and over. So if you're stuck, just think, okay, how can I like level this activity down? You should think, how can I make this more concrete? What is the most concrete I can make this activity? If you're needing to level an activity up, I want you to think, can I somehow make this pictorial? Like I did with drawing the circles and using the daubers. You've got the picture. You don't even have to use the daubers because that's still concrete. You can just count dots. You could use dot stickers and have like just some little mats that are laminated and you can use an eraser. Anyway, I could go on and on. So then if they're really good with the pictorial and you want to give them a challenge, it's like, how can I make this just a little more abstract? Take away the concrete, take away the pictures, and then have them either tap it out, show you, or have some manipulatives, which are concrete, but they're using them in a way that's more abstract. So I hope that helped, and have a great day. If you have any comments or if there's anything that you do in your class that you could share with me, I'm always looking for new ideas. I am certainly not the font of all ideas. I've just been doing this for a long time. I love it so much. I'm passionate about it, and I love to share it with you, and hopefully I've been able to help you a little bit today. So thanks so much.